Good evening, this is the Tuesday Tea Time for St Andrews Golf Magazine. This week I'm joined by John Boyne, St Andrews Links Caddy, Les Bailey from Pro Golf Now, and Elizabeth Bethel from Pro Golf Now.
Hi.
This week we'll be discussing last week's events around the world, the Phoenix Open, the Dubai Desert Classic, and the New Zealand Ladies Open, and looking ahead to this week's events at Pebble Beach, in Joburg, and in the Australian Women's Masters. And we'll also be continuing a discussion myself and Les had last week about Olympic golf. I know Elizabeth's got a lot to contribute for that this week, and we'll also be sharing a video with you of an interview with the course designer of the Olympic golf course in Rio de Janeiro.
Wow.
So let's start this week with the Waste Management Phoenix Open, the most attended golf tournament ever played. The records tumbled every day, 189,000 plus on Saturday, and over 560,000 for the week, even though there was only 22 of the top 50 players in the world. Can you imagine how amazing the crowd would be if you had Tiger Woods, Rory, etc.? But it was an incredible finish, a mad Sunday where nobody seemed to want to win the tournament, but Kevin Stadler prevailed in the end after Bubba Watson's mad moment on the final hole. It was kamikaze golf.
I had written in a blog yesterday, and I caught a little bit of stick about it, but it brought back memories of Jean Van de Velde at the 1999 British Open, and I even pointed out that it wasn't quite as entertaining as Van de Velde's little jaunt was, but it was approaching, you know, it was coming right up on time for the Super Bowl, and I think everybody was wanting to get the heck out of there so they could get
even Bubba Watson.
Even Bubba, man, he was.
Well, I mean, Faldo said, didn't he? Because the guy's so long off the tee, why does he not just hit a long iron or a 3-wood down the fairway, pitch it on? But he still goes to drive it, and then he hits this horrendous thin with a wedge through the back of the green, tries some sort of crazy little chip and run, which came off, but he missed the putt. It was a disaster from start to finish for Bubba Watson. Really, the 15th was the start of the meltdown. Really, I would say.
Yes. I thought he just, I don't know. Bubba's got a weird attitude, and he's got a weird philosophy on playing golf. I mean, he doesn't listen to anybody about how to swing, how to play. And you could tell he was irritated. He was irritated about the whole thing because it was taking so long, and he wanted to go watch the Super Bowl.
I mean, John, you can relate to this more than any of us. His relationship with his caddy is unlike anything I've ever seen.
I think his relationship with his caddy is his caddy carries the golf clubs, and that's it. And occasionally helps him line a putt up, you know.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, he turns around and blames him for everything. It really cannot help his own sort of mindset, I don't think.
I think it's very handy to have someone out there on the course right beside you that you can blame. I think that it's good to have somebody to blame. Stacey Lewis blames the crowd, and Bubba blames his caddy.
Yeah. I think that Bubba Watson has probably won his last major, and whether he wins another tournament, the way he goes about things when he's got the tournament in his hands, it is bizarre. I mean, that final hole is so easy if you just play it down the middle with a long club, with a short club for him. I mean, he could get there with like a 5-iron off the tee, so there was no need for him to go blasting a driver away, and he lost the tournament. But so Graham Dillette came into it at the end. Matsuyama was looking very good until 16 and 17.
Well, I thought that Graham Dillette made two really nice approach shots there toward the end. I was actually pulling for Graham Dillette to win the tournament because he was the one that actually came down the stretch looking like a pro golfer that wanted to win a tournament. He just the bogey at 15 put him one too far back to actually catch everybody. But I liked his performance. I thought he done well.
It was a very, very good, entertaining final round. I wouldn't say the level of golf was exceptional, and it was mistakes rather than great birdies or great play that won it. But Kevin Stadler's finally got that win. It sets up what Craig Stadler said would be his final Masters this April, where he plays with his son. And so it's going to be an emotional occasion at the Masters, which is a good thing. So, moving on to Dubai last week, and Stephen Gallagher becomes the first player to ever defend at the Dubai Desert Classic. The highlight, obviously, for him and probably the whole week was his extraordinary play on Saturday afternoon, 10 under par for the last 10 holes, with one par as well. Quite remarkable. And then you get to Sunday, and almost as a forerunner to what happened in Phoenix, all the contenders were really shaky. Rory especially. But Stephen Gallagher gets off to a bad start, but brings it back, and a great win.
I thought it was a wonderful win, and the fact that he played alongside of Tiger and Rory for the first two rounds. Everybody was talking about Tiger and Rory, but nobody was really talking about Stephen Gallagher. I mean, he was a defending champion, and he was drive for drive with Rory and shot for shot with Tiger. I mean, hats off.
Yeah, it's a very good win, and it takes him inside the world's top 40, sets him up for the Accenture. Probably now, I would say he's going to get into the Masters, unless he has a bad run of form. But it's another good win for him, third of his career, and he's shown he's got the talent to take his career further, I think, and he'll be certainly aiming for a Ryder Cup berth in September.
Right. No, I thought he played well. The round of golf he shot on Saturday was phenomenal. I mean, he had one, like I said, he had one par, and he was 9 under for the back nine. What he eagled, what was it, 14 or 13? 13. He eagled 13.
Yeah.
To make up for the par that he didn't. But that was just a phenomenal round of golf on Saturday.
Oh, it's a stretch of golf which you don't see very often. 28 on a par 37 back nine, just remarkable, really. And it really showed to the others that he was serious about defending his title. And yes, as you say, Les, when he played with Rory and Tiger, he wasn't fazed one bit. So
no.
Moving on to Tiger, after we didn't think it would get any worse from the first week in Torrey Pines, I think nobody can deny that display of driving wouldn't have been out of place on a municipal course on a Saturday afternoon.
No, he's definitely struggling with his driver. He, in fact, I think it was on Thursday morning, he was hitting a 3-wood off the par 5, and Rory and Gallagher both outdrove him by 60 yards. He was putting a lot of pressure on on the rest of his game, and unfortunately, the rest of his game wasn't up to snuff during the week to actually put him, in contention.
No, his short game on the first day was what got him to score 68, but from then on, it was no chance of competing really at the top end of the leaderboard. Moving on to last week's Ladies European Tour, first event of the year in New Zealand. Mi Hyang Lee won by one shot from the home favourite Lydia Ko. And Elizabeth, did you see any of the tournament, or were you keeping in touch online?
I just had to stay in touch online. It was not televised in the U.S.
No, it wasn't.
Sadly, yeah. So, but I was following it, particularly the last 9 holes. It's hard to follow a golf tournament online only with the scorecard, but that was the way I followed it, and it got very exciting. But let's talk for a minute about poor Lydia Ko playing golf competitively with the stomach virus and going to the hospital the night between the first and the second rounds. I mean, wasn't exactly a fair tournament.
No, that's quite remarkable that she actually managed to finish second, 8 under par for the tournament. So
yes.
It shows her talent and her will to win as well.
No, she's very talented. I'm anxious to see her play without a stomach virus.
Yeah, I mean,
but then there was a sleeper. There was a sleeper in New Zealand. Did you pay any attention to Anya Alvarez?
No, I didn't.
Well, it's an interesting story. Ms. Alvarez is an LPGA rookie, and she's I don't believe she has a Rolex rank yet. She played Ko shot for shot.
Wow.
Ended up one shot behind her in the end. Alvarez and another American who plays on the European Tour, Beth Allen, were neck and neck with Ko. Right, through that back nine. Yeah, it was quite an amazing thing. So I'm kind of interested in what Miss Alvarez is going to do now, because she's also playing in the Australian Masters. We may have a new star. She's young, just off the Sumatra Tour. Nobody's paid a bit of attention to her. Her dad's a teaching pro. She's from Oklahoma, not the heartland of golf development.
No.
I'm an Okie, so I can throw a few darts at Oklahoma, but but I want to get her on everybody's radar. I think she's very interesting.
Yeah, it's certainly a very impressive performance. If you're a rookie and you've not even got a ranking, to come out and compete with somebody who is already a very successful champion on the LPGA and the Ladies European Tour. Even though Ko's very young, she's actually got a lot of experience.
Oh, she's totally experienced.
So yeah, it's a very impressive performance. And most of the players in last week's field move on to the Australian Masters at Royal Pines, which is where Adam Scott won the Australian PGA last November. Laura Davies, Gladys Sarah, Melissa Reid, Gustafsson, Carly Booth, Carrie Webb, Caroline Hedwall, and Charlie Hull, probably the headline names in the field. And it should be another good tournament before, obviously, next week's co-sanctioned Australian Open.
Well, Charlie Hull, let's talk about Charlie for a minute, because her performance at the New Zealand event really kind of surprised me. She started well. She played her first round very, very well. In fact, she was paired with Ko, and they were going along shot for shot. But then Charlie Hull fell off, and her second round got bad, and her third round was worse. And it's almost like Charlie can't keep it up.
Some young players, I would say, are outstanding, like Ko. Some young players have a lot of talent, a lot of promise, but I would say that they probably need 4 or 5 years to become that solid week in, week out player.
And I think Charlie's in that category. I mean, she has the potential, no doubt about it.
Has she turned pro yet?
Yes, she did before Coach in January of last year.
Okay. So she's going to play a regular role on the LPGA Tour this year?
No, she's not playing on the LPGA. She plays on the European Tour.
Okay, so she's not. We're not going to see her on a lot of events in the States then.
That's right. We'll see her on the co-sanctioned events.
Right.
So maybe Evian she might get into if she.
Oh, I'm sure she will. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the Women's British Open as well. Obviously, this week on the PGA Tour is a very old, historic Pebble Beach National Pro-Am. Last week, AT&T renewed their sponsorship of the event through till 2024. I think I'm correct in Les in saying that's the longest sponsorship possibly of any golf tournament in the world by then. I think it's pretty extensive sponsorship.
Yeah, in fact, I went to the Pebble Beach Pro-Am back in 1980. It was still called the Crosby Clam Bake then, and what a tournament! It's always a great tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think my one big criticism from sitting over here in the UK, watching the way Sky cover the Dunhill, where they actually follow the best players each day to each of the 3 different courses. Over here, and I know it's the same in the States, the Golf Channel will just stay at Pebble Beach. They won't cover extensively Spyglass Hill or Monterey Peninsula when the best players are playing on the course. It seems sort of counterproductive to me.
I can tell you from experience, I've played Spyglass Hill and I've played Pebble Beach, and Spyglass Hill doesn't lend itself easily to get cameras and crowds around those the golf course. It's just a really tight old-timey golf course that doesn't lend itself well to a lot of cameras.
Okay.
Now I haven't. I've never been to Monterey Peninsula golf course, but it's the smaller of the 3 golf courses, so I'm expecting that it probably doesn't have much space for people to follow the tournament around either.
Sure.
Especially cameras and
logistics that come with that.
It's not like out in the desert, the Humana Challenge where they've got acres and acres and acres of space to put cameras and crews and the Carmel, the Carmel Bay area is really built up. It's tight, and there isn't room to park. There isn't room to. It's a mess out there when they have the tournament.
Yeah. So what is? I mean, everybody talks about Pebble Beach being unbelievable. Does it live up to the expectation you had before you went there, and then you go there, and is it every bit as good, or even?
Oh, it amazing? Is. It's a 6-hour round of golf, and it's a 6-hour round of golf that you don't mind that it's 6 hours because it's so beautiful. And unless you get there on a day when it's 55 degrees and foggy, which it is sometimes.
Yeah.
If there's any kind of sunshine and it's just absolutely beautiful. You get lost in the waves and the rugged coastline and the seals and just all kinds of things to look at out there.
So this week, sorry, carry on.
I was going to say the time that I went down there to watch the tournament, Nathaniel Crosby was still trying to get on the PGA Tour, and I followed him around for a while, and the Crosby family still had control of that tournament before the corporate juggernauts come in and took it over.
Yeah.
It's a shame, really, I suppose, that can't still be handed down from generation to generation. Give it that unique feel. I would say that it's such a great tournament, great history, and fun tournament, I would say. But now, obviously, with AT&T, as you said, it's a little bit more corporate. But you've got a really good field this week. Mickelson, Harrington, Snedeker, Watney, McDowell, Dustin Johnson, Furyk, Goosen, Jason Day, and the European Ryder Cup captain Paul McGinley is making an appearance.
Right.
So it should be another exciting week.
Yeah, and McDowell's going to play with his dad again, and I'm not sure if Lee Westwood is playing with his dad. I didn't look that deep today, but that's one of the beauties about that tournament is the people that are playing with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very much so. It's very much like our equivalent would be the Dunhill.
Right.
Played in less tropical conditions, but it's a great week nonetheless, and you've got a lot of stars from stage and screen. So it's a great event with a lot of history.
Yes, it is.
So
it's a party.
This week on the European Tour is the Joburg Open. I wouldn't usually be focusing on the Joburg Open because it doesn't have an outstanding field, but Charles Schwartzel's playing, and again, Alvaro Quiros. But it's the second of a few tournaments this year that have been sanctioned by the R&A as open qualifying tournaments. The Australian Open started it in December, this week in Joburg, then Thailand, Japan, the Irish Open, the AT&T National, Greenbrier, the French Open, the Scottish Open, and the John Deere Classic. The top three players, the top three players in each field will qualify for the Open Championship. They've done away with the international final qualifying. It makes it much more available for players to go and play the events without scheduling conflicts, and it actually makes each event more prestigious because they're qualifying for the Open Championship.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it should be a good week. It's a great golf course they play the event on at Johannesburg, Royal Johannesburg and Kensington. So Charles Schwartzel's won there before. Richard Sterney, he's won there before, and he's playing, and a few others European Tour stars.
Is Oosthuizen playing this week?
I looked at the entry list and he wasn't there, so
okay.
I'm guessing he's not playing. So last week, Les and I had a conversation about Olympic golf. This week, I've been doing some research, which we'll get on to in a minute. But Elizabeth, what do you think of the way the Olympic golf tournament is going to be structured, and what are your views of general on Olympic golf?
Well, I'd like to see Olympic golf be a setting where amateurs could actually compete for their country in the same way that professionals compete under their national flags in all kinds of organized tournaments. But that's not the way it's going to be.
No.
And so I think that it's sad that we're cutting out the amateurs. But we have, so there you go.
Well, I mean, there are a couple of sports that still have amateurs in it. Boxing is still an amateur event, completely amateur. Clearly, their superstars in the world of boxing are playing for a lot of money, just like golfers are. So actually, the reason for having the stars there is more for the IOC to make more money, rather than to have the best, if you like, because boxing doesn't have the best. It has the best amateurs.
I guess it depends on whether you endorse the Olympics as a revenue-generating event or if you endorse the Olympics as a pure moment of athletic competition. And I recognize the reality of the need to generate revenue, but I think that it's sad that we privilege money-making over athletic competition, and that's what's happened with golf.
Welcome to capitalism in the 21st century.
Yes, I know.
So
Matt asked and I had an answer, and that's the way I feel about it. But I'm a realist. I know we've got to pay for the TV time and the commentators and the stadiums that we build and so forth.
And I think that golf is viewing this as an opportunity to promote the sport at the highest level around the world and expose youngsters in South America and other countries that don't play the game to the very best players in the world on the biggest stage. I really hope that the golfers, the top players in the world, they change their schedules and they go and stay in the Olympic Village. They don't just jet in off their own jet 2 or 3 days before the tournament, have a few practice rounds and play the tournament and leave. They've really got to get this right, and golf has got to be part of the entire Olympic movement.
Well, do you want to place a side bet on which way it's going to be?
Oh, I don't need to bet. I know what's going to happen, Elizabeth. Because
I see the corporate jets in the air already.
I do too. There's going to be air traffic problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that obviously scheduling problems with the PGA Championship and the Open Championship being so close, they're going to have to move that. You've got the Ryder Cup at Hazeltine that year. You've also got the PGA Tour playoffs. They're going to have to stretch the season out, which will inevitably mean that the golfers won't be at the opening ceremony.
Well, the Chinese will. The Chinese are very hot to send a team, both a male team and a female team. The New Zealanders are very hot to be well represented nationally. I think some countries are going to be able to do this, to meet the ideal that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And other countries maybe who are already more well established as in competitive golf are going to probably take the whole Olympic thing more casually.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I think from the ladies' side, this will be the biggest thing to ever happen for ladies golf, and I think the likes of Pedersen, Coe, they will all be there. And I saw a video with Suzanne Pedersen, promotional video about Olympic golf, and she wants to be in the athletes' village. She wants to be there with the Norwegian team walking out in the Olympic Stadium.
Yes.
So I think for ladies golf, it will work fine, but I think the guys, well, I don't think they'll do the opening ceremony. So I've been doing some research this week, and I found a gentleman by the name of Andy Reistetter, who's a freelance golf writer, and he's doing a journey from the original Olympic golf course, or the last Olympic golf course in St. Louis, all the way through South America, through until Rio de Janeiro, and he actually went to the Olympic golf course site and did an interview with Gil Hanse, the designer. I'm just going to try and share a video with you, so bear with me because I've never done this before.
How does this work, Matt?
It just literally, I click on the side, and there should be.
I got a notification that I'd have to some kind of app.
Yeah, I got it too. But I'm hoping it'll just pop up on the screen.
Well, I don't see it yet.
No. Now Matt's turned his mic off.
Oh. No, here we go.
Matt, have you tested this?
Can you see it?
No.
No, you can't see it.
No, we can't see it.
How strange. Because it's playing with me. Anyway, we will. It's playing with me, so maybe it's going to be shown during the later version.
You're going to have to field test this, Matt.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, that's how we learn. It's just.
Yes, it is.
It's a good place to. It's a good place to field test it.
Yeah. Because I can see the video clearly, but it's clearly not playing.
I'm wondering if the audience, the live audience, can see it.
Yeah, quite possibly. Hopefully you guys can see it when it's finished. I can't even remove it, so we'll have to just wait until it's finished. It's only 3 or 4 minutes long. Okay. So. So you can't see it or hear it.
I can hear it as sort of background noise.
Right. Okay.
Now you've muted Les.
No, I think that happened. I didn't do that.
Well, he's been muted. Les, you're muted.
Yeah, I know I was. I did a little field test of my own here. I downloaded the YouTube app that comes with the Hangout, and I'm not sure what it's going to give me, but it's the little ball is twirling around like it's going to do something.
Oh, where's the YouTube app?
It's the little three dots on the left.
I see it.
You click on that, it says apps, and then you follow the.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that. Yeah, I'm not getting it.
Right. We'll get rid of that. And we should be back now. Hopefully you guys saw that video watching. Les and Elizabeth didn't. It's a bit of a disaster, really. But we'll try and endeavour to make it better next time.
Okay, but I got it. I got it. Les, I got it.
Right. Great. Okay. Well, anyway, Olympic golf is 2 years away in August, and hopefully we'll be featuring Andy Reisetter, who did that video with Gil Hans. I have emailed him to try and get in contact with him because he seems to have got a lot of insight into the world of Olympic golf. It's going to be a great event, as we all know, eventually, depending on who plays and who commits to it. But I know I speak for all of us when we say we want it to succeed, and both the men's and women's games will flourish. The industry will flourish, more sales of golf equipment, and we'll have more subscribers to St Andrews Golf Magazine and readers to Pro Golf Now. So it can't be a negative. But yeah, so it's been a great conversation this week. Unfortunately, as you'll notice, John had to depart the Hangout. We'll hopefully get him sorted out soon. But it's been a great conversation. It's going to be another good week in golf. And from myself, it's good night and see you next week.
Good night, everybody.
Cheers.